All right, let's talk a little bit about flies. I've been a fly tyer almost all my life. And as I said before, I like working with new materials and finding out how to use it. So let's talk a little bit about flies. This is the original temple dog. It has the classic colors for brown water, brown wing, black, gold, orange, some mixed flashable. That most of the rivers that we have here in Sweden, they have a humus colored water, a little bit brownish. And this fly have been around for a long time. The first fly I tied was in 1985. This fly have many names today, but this is the original, just so you know. I tied the first fly in 85. I had an order for Sunrays. I called Margrethe Thomsen. She used to run a fly tying company in Sweden. And I had an order for Sunrays. I didn't have any goat hair. So I called her up and said, I need some goat. I don't have any right now, but I have something else that you could try. She sent me the first, because she managed to find a skin with dog hair. She sent me some hair and it was really, really good. But I thought to myself, what the fuck, what am I going to use this for? It looks like crap. But I dyed some of it dark brown. I went down to end, this was by the end of September, and had really, really good fishing. And the first time that I put the fly into the water, it was like a revelation, because the fly was just swimming like this, moving by itself. It looked like it was going to swim away with the leader. And I've never seen anything like that before, because at that time I used to use fox, not so much, a little bit of fox, started to use the fox at that time, but it was mostly bucktail, squirrel, or maybe something else. So this was, this changed everything. And particularly when you have the gold, the red, the brown, and the orange, that's an awesome mix. And from the time when I was tying flies, this is the red temper dog. From the beginning, I made the first temper dog series consisted of 7 patterns, and I based them on classic colors like the green Highlander, silver gray. This was a version of the red sandy, and the original temple dog was actually a version of the Dunkel, black doctor, flies like that. And because these colors, they've been catching fish for hundreds of years, so therefore the colors must mean something for the fish. And so I created a series of flies from dark to light, from black to more or less white, and the silver gray. And this fly from the beginning, these 2 flies, from the time when I was tying flies, they have taken each at least 5 fish between 20 and 25 kilo, because I used to sell the flies. The people, they went to Alta, they went to Argentina, fished for huge sea trout. So my flies went to places I've never been to myself, and that's something that I always liked as well. And I have my friend Uvdrö, he's no longer with us. He used to call the red temple, or he used to call it the communist fly, the communist flyge, because it took everything and left nothing. He was a great fisherman. Another great pattern is this is like a black black wing, mirage silver body, orange GC. This fly have taken a lot of fish everywhere. If I don't know the river, fishing pools I've never been to, this is usually one of the flies, and it's a fly size. I put it on just to see if anything will happen. But it's been around for many years and have accounted for a lot of fish. This is a smaller version of the temple dog. Just a small tube using the small tubing, so I could stick the fly directly into the tube. This is a recent pattern. I have a friend, Arne Viste, Norwegian. He came up to me and said, Håkan, I've taken 5 fish over 15 this season on this fly. You have to try it. And I said, are you stupid? Can't fish like that with that. Looks like shit. Then I went to Orkla and fished the Rizal. I fished half the pool. I put it on. I landed like a 12-13 kilo fish, but there was a female and she swallowed. So I had to kill it. So I had to go back to Gaula, and this was my birthday. And that same day I managed to land 4 more fish on the same fly, and the biggest was like a 15 kilo plus fish. This is also an old pattern. This is an old fly. This is probably 20 years old. I still use it from time to time. This is a smaller version of the red temple dog. I can fish it on floating line, intermediate lines, spring fishing. It's been around for many years as well. This is actually an original banana fly tied by Mikael Andersson, and I consider this as one of the best contemporary flies designed in recent years. And it's been, particularly when you have this shitty color in the water, a little bit brownish, the fly gets almost the same color as the water, and it's so deadly. But I think, as with everything else, if the pattern is good, everyone is using it, then it's not so good anymore for some reason. But I like the banana and the colors and everything. This is a version that I made myself. I did it years ago. I use like an orange underwing, and then I use like a tungsten cone. The wing is tied in front of the cone, so you get a good volume from the back. And that's something I always considered very important, that you have a good silhouette, good movement, and it's about presentation fishing for salmon, because if you present the fly at the right level, using texture in the material in the fly that will make the fly swim, you consider the size of the hook, the weight of the whole fly according to the speed of the current, then you will get a natural movement in the flies. You don't have to do anything, because if you have good quality material, you adjust the weight, structure of the hair, everything, you don't have to do anything, just let the fly do the work. And this is often, very often, when I select the line where I'm fishing, it's more important than the fly itself. It's, as I said, it's about presenting the fly at the right level to make it fish best. And this fly, I fish it with a free swinging treble. So you put a piece of tubing over the Hawkeye, This is something that I did like 30 years ago. I was fishing in a river in Sweden, and they were fishing with jigs, and I wanted a fly that would behave like a jig. So I cut up brass tubes in smaller pieces and tied like this, tied the just short tube and long wing, and then started to use with a free swinging treble or a free swinging hook. When I put the tubing over the Hawkeye, the hook always goes straight behind the fly. If you don't have it, the knot might slide sideways and the hook will go, like this. And I put a piece of, as you can see on the hook, I put a piece of UV glue and in the scissor to prevent the hair from tangling in the hook. What else? Of course, you have the Sunrays. We went to the first time, that was a major event in my life. We were fishing the Gaula, and there was a Swedish man. He was fishing in Lerdal, so he knew Ray Brooks, who invented the Sunray. And he came to Gaula and said, try this. And he gave me this long wing fly. I put the fly in the water, and the fly was just swimming. The wing was just moving. So that was a major thing for me. And the Sunray works everywhere. On this one, I have left here. It's a piece of the skin still. So it means I haven't put much material in this one, but the skin is hard. So you get a good silhouette, a lot of volume. And this is a friend of mine, Per Stadi. He made this version. He called it the Swedish Poacher. And so he adds a little bit of floor yellow, floor green floss underneath, and it's like a trigger point for the fish. And I really like this long sling, Sunrays, fishing on a floating line, long leader. It's really efficient. And in recent years I started to use the Hitch. I fished with Icelandic fisherman on the Rinda, and he was a master, Palme Gunnarsson. And I fished in front of him. Maybe I was into 1 or 2 fish. He came behind me and was into maybe 10 fish, hooking 10 fish, and landed 2 or 3 of them. So that really got me thinking. So I've been using the Hitch for a number of years now, and it's so efficient. And it's a technical fishing, and I really, really like it. And this is like a small Sunray. You have this 4 or 5 centimeter wing, and it's a really good fish finder. If you're coming to pool, you don't know if there's any fish, you put this on, and if there's anyone home, you will usually have a reaction. And then you have, of course, the standard Hitch flies that they use in Iceland as well. I really like it, it's fun. And something I've been going back to also that I learned from Iceland is to use double hooks again. Because they, back in the days, we used to fish size 4, 6, 8 double hooks all the season, and we took like 80% of the fish together with the guests. But hardly no one uses double hooks anymore. And everyone was used the long wings, but double hooks, I really like that. The only disadvantage is that if you fuck up the hook, you have to throw the fly away. And that was one of the main reasons why I stopped using them. As you can see, I have a lot of flies, but today it feels like I have nothing to fish with, because I tried a lot of them and nothing works.